I wonder really what was the use of it. So I will try as good as I can that it is relaxed and informative at the same time, and that it also makes some experiences, and it is a good mixture of information, meditation, and also discussion. Discussion we didn't have so far. We will also have some discussion or some question and answer. But actually discussion would even be better because then you are more engaged. So now the meditation I wanted to introduce now, some of you, maybe most of you, notice already this is the so-called non-meditation or meditation without object. And I learned this meditation from Mingyur Rinpoche, who is my meditation master. I learned the most effective meditations from him, at least with respect to calming down the mind, and one of the most effective of all of this is non-meditation. He also said non-meditation is best meditation, but this was the propaganda for me in the beginning, but by experience I have to say, oh, it's true, it's really best meditation. And if you would like to know more about this type of meditation, non-meditation, you will find videos on YouTube. I think on Google Talk he explained this type of meditation, and there's also a book by him where it is also explained.
The Joy of Living?
Joy of Living, yes. And there are also other texts which explain this type of meditation. And sometimes it is good you hear this, how you meditate or how you do this type of meditation from one person, or you read one instruction, then you try. Sometimes it's very good to receive different instructions from different people with respect to the same method, because all those explanations add towards to get a richer perspective on what actually this method is and how it works, and this helps you also to refine your understanding. So, now, what is non-meditation? What are we doing here? In general, you then can discriminate meditation either in shamatha meditation or meditation which are methods for calming the mind and for cultivating concentration. And you can discriminate meditation as insight meditation or vipassana meditation, where you use a focused or concentrated mind to cultivate or develop certain types of insight into the nature of reality, like the three characteristics of existence, non-self, suffering, and impermanence. There are other types of, usually insight meditation refers either to the lack of self or the selflessness, the realization of selflessness, or meditation which leads to this realization or understanding, or impermanence. Usually this is how the term insight is usually applied. But you can also make this broader. But you have either this type of stabilizing meditation, shamatha meditation, or types of, you could call it analytical meditation, which you can call vipassana. Vipassana is Sanskrit term, shamatha is also Sanskrit term. And then you can also divide meditation into shamatha meditation into meditation with object and meditations without object. So now what we are doing now will be a shamatha meditation without object. So it belongs to the first of those two categories, so shamatha meditation. And the interesting point is you can use this non-meditation also as an insight meditation, but then you need a specific instruction how to do this. Just using non-meditation or just the non-meditation as a shamatha practice fulfills already many good purposes or brings you already a lot of benefit. When we cultivate concentration based on a meditation object, like the breath, The state of concentration is achieved by placing the mind on an object, letting rest the mind on that object, not forgetting the object and hindering the mind to wander away. And thereby, by placing the mind, letting rest the mind on the object, the mind calms down and then concentration can rise. For Westerners, this process is usually quite hard due to our social conditioning. Most of the Westerners, they put too much effort into it, they push themselves too much. And the result will be it won't work. The interesting point, if you go through the process of this binding the mind towards an object and letting rest the mind on the object, when the concentration arises, the mind naturally rests on the object, and the feeling is soft, clear, light, and at the same time fully awake or fully, it's intense. It's not dull. Now in the non-meditation, you don't have any object. You just do nothing. You do even meditate. You don't try to push away thoughts. You just allow to rest your mind as it is, and you do nothing. To help you to get access to this type of meditation, Mingyur Rinpoche used some examples. I have some examples by Mingyur Rinpoche and by Namkha Rinpoche. They are all very useful. First of all, I try to relate you to your own, before you do the meditation, I try to relate you to your own experiences. When you remember certain times in your life, like the example I gave this morning already, you watch on an ocean or the sea, and then suddenly you feel, like now I can really prefer. Now I'm totally relaxed. There's no worry anymore. And actually this is not meditation. Based on the condition of the vastness of the ocean, your mind opens up, gets broad and vast, and natural rests in itself. And there's no worry. And at that moment you feel totally at peace and happy, and you miss nothing. Everything is there. The only point is, nobody asked you or taught you or inspired you to stay in that state of mind. That's why it's easy to get lost by thoughts. Oh, this is really nice, I should do this more often. Or nowadays maybe you make a photo, or take your mobile phone, make a video of the thing. Because the point, I think those distractions are not too useful for this type of meditation, because it's coming from letting go. And if you have an impulse, I have to keep this moment by making a photo or by thinking about it or whatsoever, then actually it's already gone, it's already finished. And these type of moments of just being relaxed and staying in a natural state of, we call it the natural state of awareness, just staying, the mind just settles and rests in itself and there's no activity. You are at ease and peace, there's nothing to do, there's no worry. These tiny moments happen on different occasions, in different circumstances. So I told just the example of the ocean, but this can also happen if you are in a beer garden. For the men. For the men, I tell this for the men. Because you just are sitting there, and then at one moment you allow yourself to rest and think, oh. And at that moment you have this state. It's not the beer, it's not the garden, it's just the condition that you allow yourself to let go all the worries. Or it can happen if you do physical exercises, if you did a really, you call it body workout or something like this? Workout? Workout, you did a workout. This is an example Mingyur Rinpoche used. And then you really pushed yourself until the limits or to the limits, and then you sit, you put yourself on a chair and do like, or rest like, and actually what you are doing is, now everything has been done, I can do nothing more, now I can relax. And at the end of the breath there is this non-meditation, there is nothing to be done. But again, you didn't learn to rest in this state. But this moment is perfect. It's a total let go, or a total resting of the mind in itself, and there's no worry. And you are totally at peace and at ease. And this is the concentration. And it's a concentration without object. The concentration naturally arises by letting go all the objects, not clinging to anything, not wanting to change anything, just allowing to rest and relax. And then there's another example given by Namkha Nobu Rinpoche, which I also find very useful. Usually the mind is, we have so many intentions or wishes or desires based on those two wishes, to be happy and not to suffer. And usually we think we will achieve this happiness by fulfilling all those objects of desire. But the point is, every desire we have increases the pain of the mind. The lack of fulfillment increases the dissatisfaction. So the more desires we have, the more wishes we have for happiness. The funny point is, the less happy we are. And the way is to let go all those desires. That's why the Buddha said, non-desire is the highest happiness. Imagine this. Non-desire is the highest happiness. We think the fulfillment of my desires is the highest. The Buddha says, no desire is the highest happiness. And this means to let go all the desires. And if you let go all desires, then this mind can settle in itself, and then you experience this natural peace from within and the natural happiness from within, and then you have what you were looking for. And the desires lead you away from this natural state. So now all those desires are like, you could say, like a heap of straw, tightly bound together. Now imagine like a tightly bound heap of straw. And a little bit our life is like this. And then what you do in the meditation, this heap of straw, or this bunch of straw, or bundle of straw, is tied together by a rope. And then in the meditation you just pull the rope, and then what happens? Bloop. This is the meditation. You just relax, do nothing. And then of course this is only a tiny moment, like it is usually. And then you just try to stay in this state, but don't make it. Just stay relaxed. And if you are not relaxed, accept it, don't change it. Stay relaxed. If there are thoughts, no, don't mind, relax. There are no thoughts, relax. There are emotions, the meditation doesn't work, relax. Everything is okay as it is. Do nothing, relax, relax. And then if you do this, if you get accustomed or used to this meditation, you learn to allow your mind to rest in a natural state of happiness, peace and ease, where you do nothing and achieve everything. The only thing is you have to get used to it. And this is the meditation method which helps to achieve it. Mingyur Rinpoche called this meditation frog meditation, and he used this example because a frog jumps and sometimes sits. And in this meditation, the frog is sitting rarely. The mind jumps all of the time. So this means this type of being at ease and peace and resting in the natural state of mind is very brief period, and then the frog jumps again. And the point is, don't mind about job
Frog.
Frog jumping. The job bunking. Don't mind about frog jumping. Just be at ease and peace. Let the frog jump. Just relax. If the frog is jumping, just relax. That's it. There's nothing more than this. And then there is a difference in the meditation posture, which would be good to adopt, but if it doesn't work for you, accept it, and then maybe you take up this meditation posture later. The meditation posture is, while usually a meditation posture, especially for cultivating concentration, we have the 7-point meditation posture, where also the right hand is in the left hand, and I just give a brief demonstration of it, something like this. And then the eyes, they fall in front of you. Usually they say at the level of the nose, but if you have a short nose, you cannot see nose. It's just in front of you, so that some light goes into the eyes, and this prevents that you have something like daydreaming. If you close the eyes, the danger that you are carried away by thoughts now is a bit higher, but in the beginning it might be better to close the eyes because the distractions are just too high. So that's why for beginners it's okay to close the eyes initially, but later it would be good to have them slightly opened, like on the statues of the Buddha or the images of the Buddha, because when the light enters your eyes, this helps you to have this, to be fully awake while you do the meditation, and this helps you not to fall into subtle states of dryness. Now here it is a bit more extreme. For this type of non-meditation, you open the eyes and either you look straight or you look slightly upwards. And it's a little bit like as if you would look on the vast ocean. And the point is, you look like on a vast ocean, or like even beyond the horizon, without having any fixation. To achieve this, don't take this too seriously. No, I mean, it's not too complicated. It's just looking, openly looking into the room, but because you see material hindrances or material objects, you just imagine they are, transparent, and you are looking through them, so that your eyes really rather look like through everything, as if all those things would be transparent, and naturally rest in the vastness, openness of space. You know what I mean? And this already brings some difficulties because the eyes and also our mind is not used not to focus on objects too much. So naturally you will have some flickering of the eyes, some nervousness. The eyes go sharp and unsharp, and they have some focused, unfocused. So don't mind, just ignore. It's just a useful posture to go into this type of state of mind of the non-meditation. And if it is too difficult for you, you just close the eyes, no problem. Okay, so then we will do the meditation together, and I will give you, before we start the exercise, I will give you 2 or 3 sentences which I learned from Ringu Rinpoche and Kenshin Dango Rinpoche, which helped me a lot to go into this state of meditation. And maybe they are also useful for you. And then you just try to do what was explained previously. Okay? So now try to bring your body into a meditation posture. If you sit on a chair, try to sit straight. Bring your upper body upwards. Make your upper body straight. Be relaxed and don't cultivate a feeling of I have now to do some very hard work, but rather it's something very pleasant and nice I will do now. And try to bring your awareness and your mind on your body, feel your body. Feel your feet, the knees, the hands, the upper body, shoulders and head. Get in contact with your body, and while you are doing it, you have already an object you can focus on. And by doing it with some focus, the mind counts already down due to the increase of concentration. And then check if your shoulders, arms, fingers and hands are relaxed. And your face, lips, mouth is relaxed. And now open your eyes and look straight in the vastness of space. As if you would look even beyond the horizon. And the eyes are relaxed and don't have any fixation point. And then we can bring our attention towards our chest, the middle of our, or the heart chakra. And relax our mental consciousness and do nothing without thinking on the past, present or future, without adding anything to our mind or want to achieve anything, without wanting to prevent or make anything away in our mind. We just let rest our mind in its natural state of bliss and peace. Just relax and rest as it is. There might be thoughts, emotions, unrest or unpeace or whatsoever. We don't mind, we just relax and rest as it is. We do nothing. whatever arises in the mind, whatever appears to our mind. We just stay relaxed and rest as it is. Don't do anything, relax. So coming back to our topic, what makes life meaningful and so on. There is now already an answer to this. If even the happiness researcher agreed that the greatest happiness human beings experience is when they have an experience of flow, and we cannot guarantee to have a flow experience while we are drawing images or while we are climbing mountains or driving cars speedily. We can understand this flow experience is basically a state of concentration. Now, if we use our human life to increase our concentration or to increase our ability to let go and let rest the mind in its natural state of peace and calmness, we have achieved more. We achieve more happiness, or we will achieve more happiness if we do like this. But for this we have to take the time to train in the methods. And it won't help just to go shopping or to work so much and do all those distractive activities, because they are in a way the opposite of concentration. But they are also not a hindrance to cultivate this quality, because the point is, in the formal meditation session where we sit, we try to get used or to learn a technique, like learning breathing meditation or learning this type of non-meditation. And in daily life, we can apply it and we can cultivate this quality. For instance, if you meet with others, what's usually going on? Someone is talking, you are talking. Someone is talking, you are talking. what quality really increases, how much happiness increases. The real happiness comes when the other person is silent and you can make your point. If this doesn't happen, it becomes a torture. You can use those situations by focusing what the other person says, by trying to concentrate what the person has to say, and by learning to deal with your mind and getting aware, like while you are meeting another person, so many thoughts and emotions rise in your mind or come up in your mind, and they are like vaults between you and the other person. And the more of these thoughts and emotions arise, and the less you are aware, the more you feel disconnected, the more you feel unsatisfied, unhappy in the situation. You are in the situation, you are not happy in the situation, that's why you long to get out of the situation. And then in the next situation, it's the same. And even if you enjoy a tea or a coffee, between you and the tea and the coffee, there are thoughts and emotions, and they carry you away from being in the presence, from resting and being at peace and at ease. So, now if you would use those type of meditation techniques to cultivate concentration also in daily life, or to cultivate this non-meditation in daily life, you will definitely be more happy in what you are doing, and at the same time you cultivate this quality which makes you happy. The point is, the tea does not really make you happy, the coffee doesn't really, the discussion with the other person doesn't really, how you respond and relate to the situation makes you happy. And if you are able to cultivate or to raise or to cultivate or bring up a quality in your mind like concentration, you will be far happier in that situation. The funny point is, the more you get used to listening to others with a focused mind, the happier you are. Not because others are chatting, but because you have concentration in your mind. And of course, you are also better connected to the other person, you understand better what the person is talking, and so on. The same would be if you learn to rest. You learn, formally you learn on the meditation cushion, this type of meditation, non-meditation, but you can apply it in daily life. You are in a situation, like you have a meeting, whatsoever. And meetings sometimes are very difficult and challenging, because everybody has to say something, and everybody is jumping on, now I'm the next. I heard even recently, it's a sign of power. The more a person speaks in a meeting, the more power the person has, and that's why some people don't want to stop to speak, because then they are powerless. Quite interesting concept. I don't know if this is really true, but now, because in those meetings, I like those meetings, I don't like those meetings, and usually nobody really likes them, because actually they give you so much unpeace and unease, and this comes because so many mind poisons come in yourself and others. The ego is so much, the ego is very busy at those times, and that's why you don't feel really well. Now imagine in such a meeting you just rest and relax as it is. Others are chatting, you are relaxed, you have the impulse to say something, oh, I was not relax. Come on, relax. Maybe I should say something, maybe no. Oh, why should I say something? I feel so nice. And then if it is really worth to say something, you will do it rather calmly. Not based on being pushy and, the point is, first you build up this desire, I must say something, and then you feel released because you could say something. But this is not really satisfying. This is building up tension and suffering, and then finally be happy that the suffering was gone, or has gone. But this is completely stupid. It would be better just to be relaxed all of the time and enjoy your life and enjoy the meeting, and if there's something to say, you say it. But you don't, why do you harm yourself so much by building up first this tension to speak? So that's why, if you would just use these two types of meditation, breathing meditation, or using breath as support for meditation and non-meditation, and you get used to those types of meditation on your meditation cushion. This is formal practice. And then you apply those types of meditation which increase qualities of mind. What qualities? The quality of concentration and the quality to let go, which is also concentration, or it's connected to concentration. You will be a happier person and your life will become more meaningful. Why? Because now you have a method which really helps you to get happy, which really helps you to have less suffering. And the greater those qualities become, the greater your concentration becomes, the greater your capacity to rest and relax becomes, the happier you are, the less worry you have. So then you have the method which really helps you to achieve your two aims, to be happy and to have less sufferings, just with two methods of thousands of methods the Buddha explained. Those methods are related to concentration. And the happiness you will gain is by far deeper than the happiness experienced by the sense objects. It's longer lasting, it's more satisfying, it's calmer, and it permeates your life experience and being, unlike those superficial enjoyments of the sense objects. That's why it's worth to spend time to cultivate those qualities. And some people know this already, and then they go to retreat or they do meditation sessions. Of course, it's not always joyful. Of course, it's because we have so many hindrances and obstacles to cultivate this type of concentration. But if you through a meditation session or through a retreat, if you really experience the smoothness, calmness, or stillness of your mind, and you experience this happiness going along with it, you know this is what you wanted. That's why some people cultivated certain type of addiction or attachment to those meditations, and they think meditation was really good and life is bad. But this is wrong. The point is, meditation is only a method to cultivate qualities. And those qualities, the Buddha stressed those qualities, but by the way, concentration exists also in Hinduism and in Christianity also, but maybe not too much. Those qualities are real causes for happiness, and the more you have those qualities, the happier you are. And now, because meditation is only a method, you formally train in this cultivation of qualities during the meditation period, but in the meditation break, you try to cultivate those states of mind again and again and again. And as a result, also, not only is your meditation session, you are not only happy on your meditation session, but you are also happy in daily life, because you raise this quality which makes you happy also in daily life. And this is the key point of practice, because sometimes you might have less time for formal meditation. Then the key point is to know about qualities which make you happy, and then to cultivate them while you are acting, while your activities. Like if you have a baby, then you try to cultivate more affection. No? And then if aggression comes, you try to learn to cope and deal with this aggression. That's, oh, does this help me? You try to get some insight. You see, oh, how does it feel? Oh, it's not good for me. Oh, my baby's also not good. Oh, this is not good. And then relax with it. And then maybe it goes, and then try to go in a neutral state of mind, and then try all my things about something good of your baby. Try to cultivate affection again, and then look how this feels. So you try to deal with your mind in your daily life. And actually there is time, it's just you must do it. And this is what nowadays they talk about, is mindfulness, not being mindful when you make a cup of tea, when you do something for your child. It's just this being aware and being in the presence. So, and by just cultivating these two types of methods in daily life, I think you would have already quite of an advancement and enrichment of life. And those qualities can be exercised or trained in the simple situation of life. Like if you are on a bus station, what are you doing there usually? Thinking. Worry. And how do you feel? I must go home, I must drink a coffee, I must drink a tea, then I can relax. I can relax when I have done this. But you are not relaxed on a bus station. Why? Just relax. Relax on the bus station. Relax on the bus. Why you have to go to home to relax? Why can you not relax on a bus station? Because you don't have a method for this, or because you don't remember. But now you got a method, you just have to remember. This is mindfulness, by the way, is remembering a previously known object. This is smriti. I know mindfulness in the psychological sphere is now defined a little bit different, but in Buddhism, mindfulness is basically to remember a previously heard object, or to remember a formerly known object. So now, if you can remember, there was a method to relax on the bus station, you can apply the method. And this is mindfulness, to bring back what you previously got to know, or got to know. And then you apply the method. So you need mindfulness to remember. But then, if you remember, just apply the method. And then the funny point is, you can be so happy on the bus station. You don't have to go home. But the funny point, it feels different if you are on the bus station. On the bus station, there's unrest and unpeace, and you might even think, I have to go to my meditation session to meditate. To feel good again. But the only thing you have to do, apply the method. Relax now. So, and then the formal training, the meditation and the retreat is just to get used to the method. And because if you got used to it, it's easier in such a situation to remember and to bring back the quality of letting go or concentration. This is an interesting point. Actually, we speak a lot nowadays about meditation. But meditation, actually, the Tibetan term for meditation is gom, and means, I forgot.
Becoming familiar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Getting familiar, getting used to it. And the Pali term is bhavana, and means cultivation. And both is really what meditation is all about. You get familiar with something, you get familiar with concentration, you get familiar with letting go, you get familiar with affection, you get familiar with patience, the opposite of anger. You get familiar with love, the opposite of hate, and so on. Or, the Pali term for meditation, bhavana, you cultivate love, you cultivate concentration, you cultivate states of relaxed mind. And because you have cultivated those states of mind, you get used to it, you recall them, bring them back in mind, and you have easier access to it. And this is quite interesting. We have access to all those things, we got used to it easily. If we got used in this life to many thoughts, to develop thoughts is so easy. It doesn't stop anymore. If we didn't get used to it, to let go of thoughts, and to experience states which are thoughtless, there are no thoughts at all, it's the hardest thing we can do. If we got used to anger and envy, we don't need big contemplations to get those states. We have easy access. And this is why spiritual paths are difficult. We understand the theory, but we have those patterns, we got used to it, which are the opposite of what we actually want to achieve, happiness and less suffering, like aggression, aversion, and all those things, or all those distractions, which are the opposite of concentration. So now this is very easy, and those qualities sometimes are difficult to access and difficult to remember. That's why usually it's recommended to have some formal training, some formal meditation sessions, some formal retreats to cultivate those qualities on a more focused way, you could say. And then in the daily life you remember those qualities and bring them into your daily activities. Now, if you don't have much time to do formal meditation, you should focus more and stress more to remember those qualities from either meditation you did or experience you made or from the teachings you heard, and then just try to raise them in that situation. And then your daily life becomes your meditation, your daily life becomes your practice. Usually it is, if you have a daily meditation or a routine in meditation or formal meditation, this helps a lot to bring those experiences into daily life. But if you don't have it, you try your best to transform your life by remembering those qualities and trying to cultivate those qualities in daily life. And if you do it, this is meditation. Because it's cultivation, it's getting familiar with what is useful for mind and useful to achieve your two aims, being more happy, having less suffering. So now, it's in your hands, and also in my hands, in every moment to achieve happiness. If in this very moment I am able to relax and let go, without feeling pressure, what do I say next? Should we make a break? Just relax. I'm happy. If I can't relax, difficult. The same is if I'm able to focus now, cultivate concentration. So it's in my hand. In my hands. It is everybody's hands. How we experience moment by moment. Now, if we take responsibility for our life and for our mind, and then understand actually, if I train my mind, I achieve what I want to achieve, then this would give meaning to our life by using our life to cultivate an inner spiritual path. And this is the best what we can do, and this is in line with reality, what we really want. So that's why I think it's not real propaganda, because propaganda has something deceptive. I think it's in line with reality to understand that qualities of your mind are that what make you really happy. And if you use your life to cultivate those qualities, and if you use your life to overcome those things which hinder those qualities to arise, or which are the opposite of those qualities and increase suffering like envy and aggression, your life becomes meaningful, because you are a happier person. And the funny point is, in the Western culture, people might think, oh, if I work on myself, if I do meditation and all those things and spiritual path, this is egoistic, because I do something for myself. Hello, very interesting. If I don't take responsibility for my happiness and suffering, who else is going to do it? And is this wise to delegate the responsibility to others? Actually, because we don't take responsibility, we ask others to do our job. What type of laziness is this? Not only is this laziness and unreasonable, the others won't do this job. We have to do it ourselves. Now, also, if I have the wish to be happy and I don't want to suffer in others, what is wrong with taking responsibility and fulfilling these wishes? If I'm more happy, my whole environment has a benefit from it. If I suffer less, the whole environment has a benefit from it. Actually, I have more capacities to help others if it is based on my own happiness. And I have more freedom from suffering, or if there is suffering coming, I can deal with it in a positive, constructive way so that it does not overwhelm me. So therefore, to follow a spiritual path is in no way egoistic. It can become egoistic. When you base your spiritual path, or it's when your path, just let me phrase it better. If you do it at the cost of others. No? If you have a family, if you are a mother or father, and you have children, they are at a certain age and they have certain needs. And you must a little bit attune to the situation. At that time, it's a bit unreasonable to think you can do a lot of retreats and that you can find plenty of time to do your meditation. Now, thinking you have to do this and getting unhappy with it is completely crazy. It doesn't help you. No, it completely absorbs your energy, makes you unhappy. So it would be better at that time to understand, okay, this is the situation, let me make the best out of it. And this is proper spiritual way to respond to it. But now at this situation, if you ignore the needs of your children and your husband, and you say, now I go to retreat and I don't mind what is with my child. This is egoistic because you want to achieve your happiness at the cost of others. You know what I mean? So there is a fine line, and the Dalai Lama was once asked about this egoistic and not being egoistic. To care for yourself is not egoistic. But if you do it in a way that is totally at the cost of others, it is egoistic. But you must be also wise, because sometimes people cling a lot to you and they cannot live without you. Now this would be a type of idiot compassion to say, okay, just that the person is happy, I don't do a retreat. Because actually the person is too much dependent on you, and the person must learn to live also without you. Because the moment the person has to learn, it will come sooner or later. So then it would be unwise. So in a way you have to find the right measurement to take responsibility for yourself, to work on yourself, to change yourself, and you should think, always when I do something for myself, it is always a benefit for others too. And this is a little bit difficult in our culture. Many think, if I do something for myself, I neglect others, and this is egoistic. But this is not correct, because we are all mutually dependent. If I do something for myself, I always do something for others. And if I do something for others, I do also something for myself. Because if I can help others, this enriches my life. If I can be generous, this helps me to cultivate this quality and to let go. And actually, I'm happy if I was generous. So, and the person helped me to cultivate this quality. So that's why. It's not mutually exclusive. If I help myself, I help others. If I help others, I help myself. And you have to find the right balance to take time to work on yourself and also dedicate some of your time towards others and helping them. And it could be, there might be times where you should focus far more on yourself, and where the condition allows this. It's very good if you can do this. And there might be times where it's completely opposite. And this will also change. So that's why don't be too fixed how a spiritual path should look like. It depends much on the situation, and it will sooner or later change anyway. Good. Okay, maybe we just leave it with this now for the morning, and we can have now some discussion or question and answer, or ideas, or maybe someone who wants to share something, or contradiction. No contradiction, or we just relay.
I have a question. When you mention concentration, are you referring to just being present with whatever's going on, or something else?
Yeah. Concentration is per definition a mental factor. That focus singled is a mental factor and leads towards that the mind focuses single-pointedly on the object of meditation. So concentration is a state where the mind is single-pointedly focused on an object. The result of this is that the mind gets calm and extremely peaceful. And at the same time, it's fully aware of that very object, but nothing else. Mm-hmm. To achieve this type of concentration, you need also mindfulness, because you need to remember the object of, I have to say, mindfulness, as I said already, smriti is the Sanskrit term, is defined differently than how it is used nowadays, and also in other traditions. Mindfulness enables you to remember, or I should focus on the breath, and I should not forget the breath. So you remember the meditation instruction. Then you bring your attention, this is another mental factor, towards the object of concentration. Let's say it's the rising and the falling of the abdomen. And then mindfulness has the function that the mind stays on that object and hinders the mind to wander away. These are 3 types of functions of mindfulness: to remember a previously known object, to hold the mind on the object, and to prevent the mind to move away. And to have a perfect concentration, usually you need another mental factor. This is called watchfulness. And some people translate this as, or use this, speak about this when they use the term mindfulness. This is you are fully aware what's going on at the moment with like 20% of the mind, where you only feel or are aware of the breath. Slightly you are also aware what's going on. I'm still on the breath, or the thought is arising, I'm distracted. And because you are aware what's going on, and this is watchfulness, not mindfulness, you can correct what's going on. The Sanskrit term is something like samprajnana, or I don't know, I forgot it. But this is different to mindfulness. And usually they say for a perfect concentration you need those two types of mental factors, mindfulness and watchfulness. Because if you don't have watchfulness, you don't see the thoughts which arise. Now in meditation, one of those two types of mental factors can be more present. So the factor of watchfulness, being fully aware, can be predominant a bit more than the mindfulness, you could say. And then there are certain types of meditation where you are just aware, but it's not necessarily where you have a single object and single pointed concentration. But still it's a state of concentration.
That's what I was confused about, yeah, because when you're climbing, well, none that I've ever done that climbing without a harness, there's not a single point of concentration, they're aware of the whole field of experience in a sense. So then I was wondering if what you meant by concentration was being just fully present with whatever you're doing.
At that time I was referring to a concentration which arises due to the dominance of watchfulness and being fully aware and connected with the situation. But this is not a single-pointed concentration. You need a single-pointed concentration to attain those different types of jhanas, or maybe you have heard about this. There are different types of concentration or levels of concentration, and these are called single-pointed. These are all single-pointed concentrations. But you have also a type of concentration when you do vipassana, and vipassana is process-orientated, which means you have different objects and they change quickly. But still you have a concentration, and they call it sometimes vipassana concentration. So this being fully aware and not being single-pointed would be then maybe a type of vipassana concentration. And a factor that is more dominant might be watchfulness.
Thank you.
That is interesting. I often go climbing, so I've experienced quite a few different states of mind whilst I've been on the rock, although I do use a harness and a rope on myself. But I've been both in that situation where my mind is completely focused on the puzzle at hand, if you like, because climbing is much like a mind puzzle, trying to work out where to go and the safest place to be. But then oftentimes I've had moments of complete sheer fear where I am hugging the rock, I'm actually hugging the rock, and then I have to, my mind throws all kinds of things up from that fearful basis, and then I have to try and enter into a meditative state of concentrating not on anything around me but just on relaxing my mind. So then that's almost a different mind state but still concentration.
Yes, exactly.
So for me there's two states. There's the state of concentrating on the climbing and being aware of everything around me, and then actually in a state of fear blocking everything out and trying to just have a single focus of accepting the fear.
Yes.
And then once I've got over that, something else takes over, and then I carry on climbing and everything's happy again. And you overcome the fear.
Yeah. And this is exactly what meditation is all about. Either you cultivate this quality of concentration, no? Or you get aware of the fear. You observe the fear. This is also a type of meditation. And by doing this, also you relax the mind, because it's easier to let go of the fear if you get more fully aware.
If you accept it.
Yeah, if you accept it, exactly. And then you come to this relaxed state, which is the type of a non-meditation. So it's quite interesting. Then actually you are always meditating while you are climbing. Very interesting. This is your meditation cushion. It's a bit hard.
Yes. But that is why, and I often say to people, that is why I go climbing, because it rests my mind.
Yeah, interesting.
And I guess, as you say, it's the different types of meditation that I experience. on the cushion.
Thank you very much for sharing.